all around here. And Solo always does shots first. Singing yup no.
Yup, yup.
Singing yup no.
Chucha.
Yup no.
No.
At the Cantina Club.
I'm looking forward to having some real talk with some real folks.
All right, stand by.
Hey, Cantina Club members.
Where are those transmissions
How you doing?
intercepted?
We're going to do a special episode today. We're minus Gundark tonight, who's recuperating from an illness. But so we wish her well. Hope she gets better soon. So Greedo and I are going to discuss kind of the state of Star Wars fandom. Just kind of see where that goes, because we've got a few issues we want to kind of get out there in the open. But we're also going to do a segment on rating the Borgullet, because if you remember back on the preview episode we did for Solo, we asked the Borgullet many questions about what was coming up in the movie. So we're going to actually go through the answers and see what was and was not correct, and see if he was worth our time.
So, rating the Borgullet. Rating the Borgullet.
Yes, not rating.
Or anything
So,
else.
First of all,
The Borgullet is here purely voluntarily of his own free will.
absolutely, he was not coerced in any way. So
Say to Borgullet kibble.
we're going to do a little mini unboxing segment. I have one item that I picked up last week. Nothing major, but then I know Greedo's got a few things. I actually just picked up the new issue of Star Wars Insider, with, of course, Solo on the cover there.
Whoever she is, she always likes Star Wars Insider.
Who's that?
I don't know, anybody. Any
Oh,
whoever she may be, I know that's what
whoever she may be.
she likes Star Wars Insider. What? I'm just out of curiosity. What issue number is that?
It is.
And I wonder, do they count from the beginning, like when it? Because
I think so. It's issue 181.
181. Insider
Yeah.
started in the 90s sometime, right? I'm thinking,
Yeah.
or was it the 80s?
No, it was. It wasn't the 80s. It was the 90s.
So issue 181, and it's solo oriented, of course. That's
Correct.
cool.
Yep.
Have you had a look at it?
I've flipped through it. I haven't read anything yet, but I paged through it. It's got some pretty good. Looks like some pretty interesting articles. So.
Cool. I haven't checked one out in a while, so.
I tend to get it every month, so just kind of habit.
I was in Jackson, Mississippi, and stopped by a place called Vans Comics, and they had a Star Wars collection for sale there. Not a real big collection, but somebody who had been to Celebration 6, and so I got this autographed
Convert.
Ben
Very
Burt
nice.
for a really good price. It was a very
Yeah.
good price.
Mm.
It'll fetch a good price. You do that voice better than I do. Raider.
She'll fetch a very good price. Mm.
Yes. Anyway, so and I got another one that I'll unbox or whatever you want to call it on another. I don't have it handy on another little episode that we do. But Ben Burt,
Gotcha.
one of my all-time favorite Star Wars
Absolutely.
collaborators, genius.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm still happy that I got to meet him back at the celebration in Orlando back in 2012. And he was
Remember
really
what
nice.
number that was? Was that like?
I don't off the top of my head. I think it was no, it wasn't that high. I think it was like 4 or 5, something like that.
Okay, so this would have been probably after that. Yeah, I don't guess he does too many appearances anymore. It seems like.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised he wasn't at the one last year in Orlando that we all went to, because he was at the one in 2010 and the one in 2012 where I met him. So,
Well, he's just
good guy.
another genius in the amazingly long list of geniuses that worked on the original Star Wars
Exactly.
movies.
It made this thing such a phenomenon.
You take away
that's
the
still
Ben
one of my
Burt
favorite
effects, and
memories.
what would you have?
Right,
You
exactly.
Some horrible 70s sound effects, that totally date
Oh,
the
yeah.
movie and everything.
Well, that's one of my favorite memories. Is going back, one of the original behind the scenes for A New Hope, or the original trilogy anyway, and that old film of showing how he used to, go out into the outside and record those sounds. You'd have that recording, and like the, tapping the wires, to get the laser sounds and stuff. It's amazing. Yeah, that's stuck with me ever since.
The lightsaber is like one of the film projectors from USC that they used to
Right.
show the actual film on in the classroom or
Right.
whatever. And,
Exactly.
And then like his television set and his razor, like those two things mixed together to make that sound.
Really interesting.
Yeah. And back when they
do you
used to have to, like, he'd stand there with the microphones and move them to get the sound of it moving. Like he'd watch watch the film and sync his movements with the film. They had to do stuff like that,
It's almost like an artificially created Doppler effect or something.
Exactly. Yeah, they had to come up with in real world physical ways to solve problems that everybody does digitally now. So just amazing stuff they did.
Kylo Ren was shredded.
So yeah, we have
actually. I do have one other thing to show. I thought you had more than that, but actually, I wanted to unveil the first official Cantina Club T-shirt that I had made. So with the latest version of the logo that I came up with a few weeks ago. So I'm pretty happy with that. It came out.
Very good price.
Good quality. All right. Okay. All right. Go ahead. What we got next?
We got the Borgullet questions and answers, and you're gonna take note, and as the Borgullet's keeper.
That's
Borgullet's much to reward or punish him, and because we'll have to figure out how to improve his accuracy as time goes on, whether that takes positive reinforcement or negative. We don't know much about Borgullets. They're mysterious.
That's the thing. They are very mysterious.
Okay, so these questions were the only Borgullet session we've done so far was about Solo. So these are all about the Solo movie. And the first question was, will we see the Kessel Run? Borgullet said yes.
Yes.
That's a win for Borgullet. He started
It's a
off
win
strong.
for Borgullet.
Will we see Chewie's relatives? Now this is open to interpretation because we saw Wookiees, but are all Wookiees related? There was no.
Well, no, obviously not. Obviously not. But and we didn't really find out who that particular Wookiee was. So that's almost kind of an undecided right there. So I'm going to make a third.
Make a third call. We're already starting to make excuses for Borgullet.
More excuses for Borgullet. All right, one undecided.
Borgullet said the outlook was good for seeing Boba Fett in this movie.
Okay.
The person, that we just didn't know in the background, that is a big time no. So
I would have that's that one.
Then the question was, will Kira be killed? Doubtful, he said. Borgullet said. So you got that one right.
That one right.
Yeah. And then the question was, will Lando and Han get in a fist fight? And Borgullet said, without doubt. So there really was no fist fight.
No.
So that's a miss. Will Lando have more than a trilogy of capes? And yes was the answer. So that was definitely correct. And then the next question was, will we see the Battle of Tanab? Orlando's part of the Battle of Tanab, or his maneuver? And Borgullet said most likely. So even though he wasn't, he didn't come out totally positive, I got to call that wrong. The next question was, will we see Dengar, the bounty hunter Dengar? And Borgullet was certain that we would. So Borgullet's choking on it right now. And then was Han an Imperial at any time? And Borgullet said, relying on it. So yeah, he's back on track.
Yep.
Will Han be betrayed by
back
Kira?
On track. All right.
Will Han be betrayed by Kira? He answered yes, definitely. That was true. Will any member of the crew assembled for the caper die? And Borgullet said yes, without a doubt. And of course, the droid did bite the dust. Thank God. Let's see. What was it? Oh, there was also, will Han be betrayed by Beckett? And Borgullet said yes. So that was another win.
Yep.
Then there was the question of, will each member of the Cantina Club like the Solo movie? And all three, Borgullet said yes. And I think that's true.
I think that's true as well, yeah.
So technically three wins there for Borgullet in a row. Then will the Rotten Tomatoes
So we're going to
score-
count those individually?
Yeah, because they were each individual
Okay.
questions. Yeah.
All right. Got it.
Will the Rotten Tomatoes critic score be equal to or less than 75%? And Borgullet said no. So he was wrong on that because I haven't checked it lately, but I believe it was about 72.
Oh, okay.
And he said it'd be greater than 75. So
Right.
then Borgullet said, will the Rotten Tomato audience score be greater than 75%, greater than or equal to 75%? And he said yes. Again, I don't think that's turned out that way. I haven't looked recently, but I don't believe they're over 75%. So that's another fail. He got him backwards. Will there be a hyperdrive failure? And Borgullet said yes. Now, I believe there might have been at some point.
Well, yeah, I think technically
at
before
the
they were going
end.
into the mall.
Yeah. At the end,
Yeah.
it went to high, and it failed, and then it kicked in. And yeah.
Right. So technically we'll count
Yeah,
that
we
as
got
a
to give
fail.
Borgullet that one.
Yeah, we'll give him benefit of doubt on that one. All right.
Then the last question that I have here, and I may have missed a couple, but will Solo be the lowest grossing modern Star Wars film? And Borgullet said without a doubt, it is certain.
And that is true.
Not only is that true, but it technically for, inflation adjustment and all that, it is almost the lowest grossing Star Wars film
Yeah.
ever.
Okay.
I think the Clone Wars movie is lower than it, and possibly Episode 2, but I don't think so. I think Solo might be really the lowest one
Ever. Yeah.
out of the actual live action movies.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Because The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are up there in the top, like 4 or something as far as
Right.
Star Wars. If you adjust it, I think Star Wars, the original, is number 1. The Force Awakens is number 2. And either Empire, I think Empire is 3, and then The Last Jedi is 4. Something like that.
Okay. All right. Do we want the final totals?
Yes. Borgullet,
All right.
how have you done?
Well, we have a resounding win for Borgullet.
Resounding.
Well,
It
pretty
didn't
much,
seem
yeah.
that
I
way
mean,
when we were going over it.
well, he had 12 correct,
Okay.
6 incorrect,
Yeah.
and 1 undecided. So,
If
doubled
he
his score,
If he was
basically.
picking games, to gamble on, you would have made
Yeah,
money.
you'd have done really well. So, I think we definitely will keep asking the Borgullet.
That's maybe the next thing we'll do is, since we're the Cantina Club and Wretched Hive and gambling and all that, maybe we'll pick some games like
Maybe we'll
some
start
NFL
picking some games.
Yeah, we should have picked
Based on the Borgullet.
we should have let the Borgullet pick the NBA Finals, and
Yeah.
maybe we can do some World Cup action. That would be
There you
Borgullet
go.
World Cup.
That's true. Now that the
He's
World
a
Cup's
galactic
going on.
creature. He's worldwide. His fame is spread everywhere.
Exactly.
So I'm not good at math, but we'll come up with a percentage, and we'll adjust that as the Borgullet's career goes on. And
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll keep this. I'll keep this on file. Let me mark it as Solo, so I know what it is in future. Okay.
We really connected today.
So, something to run by you. Speaking, since we already kind of talked about the box office a little bit on Solo, and I know it's been talked to death, but what, hypothetically speaking, what do you think? All right, do you think Disney marketing dropped the ball? And what I mean by that is, having it come out 5 months after the previous Star Wars. Also, December is open. Excuse me. They could have, we've gotten the fans used to a holiday Star Wars now for the last few years. There's going to be nothing this year. This movie was sandwiched in between Infinity War, Deadpool 2, The Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, all that stuff. If you had waited even till like August, there's nothing really to compete them, with. I don't know. It just seems like that the hype wasn't there. The timing was off. I don't know. I mean, what do you think on all that?
I think you just made the case for everything there. I mean, that I could think of.
Yeah.
Yes, it's obvious when I think the numbers I looked at, Solo was at 342 million worldwide. Something like not even breaking 200 million domestic. And if you look at Star Wars movies, they usually have a big worldwide box office, even though they never do well, perform well in China. But a lot of the movies, the foreign markets, which the world's a big place, obviously, but the foreign markets do more business than domestic, even sometimes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, something's obviously wrong when. But I saw commercial. I saw plenty of commercials. They tried to hype it. They did the usual stuff. Although, like you said, there was some intensity missing or something, or maybe some
Hmm.
confidence missing. But I think, as far as the marketing, what you said, the first thing you said, it was the May 25th, 24th, 25th,
Hmm.
whatever it was, release date was
Yeah,
probably the
25th. Yeah.
biggest problem. Um, Not so much. I mean, that weekend was always our big weekend to go to the movies when we were kids,
Hmm.
but that was a long time
Oh yeah.
ago. And
Yeah.
when they first did Force Awakens in December, I was kind of regretful. I think the original idea was to release it in the summer, and they had to push it back because Disney
Hmm.
or whoever wasn't giving them enough time. So I was kind of like, oh man, I missed that May 24th, May 25th thing, but it obviously worked out really well, and
Yeah.
it was kind of stupid when you don't have another Star Wars movie coming out until the year after. Um,
Right.
yeah, why not push it back to
you,
December?
you you could still keep it as 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, as opposed to rushing it. Or not that they rushed it; it was the original date. But yeah, I just think it messed up the flow of it. And honestly, I was like you, I kind of was real hesitant at first about the wait, a Star Wars movie not coming out in May,
Yeah,
because for our whole lives that's when it's come out. And but once I got used to it, I love it. I love it coming out in December. I actually
yeah.
really enjoy the
Hmm.
December releases now. And then that kind of, so now I was like, wait, we're back to May again. What's going on? So
Yeah, if they, I don't know. It was the hindsight's 2020, but um, the timing. I blame the Last Jedi first and foremost,
of
because
course,
that's the reason I would never skip out on an opening weekend of Star Wars with all my friends going, and I skipped on this one. I still
yeah,
saw it at the theater, so it wasn't like a true boycott, but I wanted to know my money going to the opening weekend total. It had nothing to do with this movie. It had to do with the last one and Star Wars as a brand, and the fact that I felt cheated because there was no. We go into Star Wars with no spoilers, no idea what we're going to see, and that's part of the experience. But then when they pull the rug out from under you and they don't deliver an actual sequel to the movie you were going to
hmm,
see, I felt cheated. Like, you see the big numbers Last Jedi did. If I had known what that movie was going to be like, I would have never participated. So,
hmm,
so this was the best I could do to make my voice heard, was to sit this one out the first weekend, and I really think a lot of people did that. And
hmm,
6 months was not enough time to get over the sting from that, and it was also just enough time for this backlash to build a lot of intensity and emotion and everything. And in the intervening 6 months, the best thing they could have done to market Solo was to come out and acknowledge that some people are upset about The Last Jedi. If they had just, they didn't have to say we made a mistake, they didn't have to admit any fault, but if they had just come out and said something to acknowledge it rather than you people are crazy.
yeah,
Look at
yeah,
our
yeah,
look
yeah,
at our big shiny numbers. Star Wars
hmm,
doesn't need you. You people are toxic. You're hateful. Get lost. And every kind of the PR was against the fans instead of
hmm,
promoting the film. And if anybody had acknowledged something there, like um, instead of just doubling down at every opportunity, I think it would have diffused the situation a whole lot. But
yeah,
they
probably so.
6 months was just enough time for that backlash to get really vicious, and and for people to really consider it and turn it into a movement. But it wasn't long enough to diffuse it. I think by
Yeah.
next December,
It would have been
yeah.
diffused, and people would have been over a little bit more, and you'd have seen higher numbers.
And I
And
was,
again, with the argument that I made, it's not going to have as much competition. It's not going to have an Infinity War, a Deadpool, a
that's the real
Jurassic
big
World,
deal. Yeah,
and all that. And even the Incredibles too. Which just set all kinds of box office records last week. That's huge competition. So
yeah. I don't think Solo appealed to the family market, so they couldn't rake in all the people with the kids, even though Star Wars should. They're caught in a weird spot,
hmm,
marketing wise and everything. It's like it's a movie that with a dark tone that really isn't dark. It's about
yeah,
gangsters, but it doesn't really go. It doesn't really go all out in any one direction. It's not a full family film. It's not a full gangster film. It's not a full, heist film. So Yeah, maybe that's one reason it felt a little bit, dissatisfying or whatever when you watched it. But and
Yeah.
obviously, word of mouth couldn't have been that good because it didn't pick up steam. Quite the contrary, it lost. Most people I know liked it, but for
Yeah.
whatever
Same here.
reason, you can't. The box office doesn't lie, and the empty theaters don't lie. So the word of mouth didn't help it, and this whole fatigue thing. I stand by my idea that people don't get fatigued with good movies. They get fatigued
No,
when bad
absolutely
movies
not.
start happening. So it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's
Of
six
course.
months or 2 weeks. I'm gonna go see it if it's good. And
Hmm.
but it's
All right. Well,
draw your own
you just broached.
conclusions.
Yeah, you broached the subject, so let's go there. That's one of the points I wanted to make. I don't understand this concept of Star Wars fatigue that I'm hearing from some people. Um, and just to compare it to the other kind of mega blockbuster series going on right now of the, of Marvel, you get, basically we've had 19 Marvel movies in
Hmm.
the last, what, 11 years.
Yeah,
You do the
since
math on how often that
2008
is.
or 7 or 8 or something. Yeah,
And it seems like people just can't wait for the next one. But yet you get 4 Star Wars films in 4 years, and it's like, oh my god, I'm so sick and tired of Star Wars. Why are they making another Star
right.
Wars? I don't understand
And
what am I missing?
and let me ask you, how many of those 19 Marvel films did you go to the theater to see? You
Probably
probably
about
you've
probably
probably
about half of them.
okay, so maybe 8.
Yeah,
But you've
yeah.
seen probably almost all of them, right? Just on cable or whatever. I mean, they're everywhere.
Not completely. No,
All right.
there's still
Uh,
3 or 4 I've never seen, but yeah, I mean, and I said 8. That's probably a little low. I've probably seen about 10 or 11 at least in the theater. But yeah, the other one I just haven't seen sometimes.
I
So
think I probably have seen 6,
okay,
5 or 6 if I'm guessing, but
any total or just in the theater?
in the theater. But I was
Okay.
way behind. I just wasn't that interested in it because I was never a comic book guy. But my point is kind of that us as Star Wars fans and fantasy sci-fi fans, we always used to go see movies like that, but we weren't flocking in to see the Marvel films. So there's a certain element of crossover there of Star Wars fans to Marvel fans that doesn't really happen and doesn't have that intensity.
Hmm.
So Marvel made its hay without us, in a
Hmm.
way, without a lot of us. It
Hmm.
was we like it, it's cool, and we catch up on it later and everything. And but so so I guess what I'm saying is that yeah, why would that franchise is doing great with different fans of all different
Hmm.
kinds of people and stuff, and Star Wars is not continuing to win over its core, and
Yeah.
it's possibly not bringing in the new fans really.
Hmm.
So something's wrong, you know, and yeah, marketing, when you put in the placement of the film, marketing is a big part of it, but it also just the whole movie the movie's appealing but lackluster, and it had no real buzz except for dumb buzz, like when they come out and say Lando's pansexual, or when they would focus stories come out about acting coaches and stuff. So it was just dumb. There wasn't any buzz as far as like anybody
Hmm.
being excited about what we were really going to see in the story. Um, so it's hard to say, like, is this movie fan service, and if so, is that what people want because they didn't respond to it? Do
Hmm.
they want more risky stuff like Last jedi to excite people, and you got to go see this, because so I don't know what the answer is, but I do know,
Hmm.
just make good movies. Nobody
Yeah,
gets
at the end of
nobody
the
gets
day, that's
tired of
what
good
matters.
movies.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess what I get hung up on sometimes is just that attitude of the fatigue, and then it seems like there's also the constant questioning of, do we really need a Han Solo film? And I
Right,
get it,
which I said that, yeah.
yeah, again, you said that, I disagree with that, but I mean, because I love Star Wars so much, I guess, not saying that you don't,
Yeah,
I want all of it. I don't care what they make of Star Wars movie. I don't want to see it.
right.
And Han Solo being one of my all-time favorite characters, of course I want to see a Han Solo film. But you never hear anybody going, "Do we really need an Ant-Man and Wasp movie?" It's almost like, "Yes, Ant-Man and
Right.
Wasp. I can't wait." It's like,
Right.
but if suddenly you say Han Solo, and they're just like, "Do we need that?
Yeah.
Come on, look at the time. Why do we want that?"
Well,
I don't get what's going on.
I
I
will
don't
say
know.
this: they didn't make a movie set in is it Ant-Man? In Ant-Man's future, where he's killed by his kid. And they specifically did that with the character of Han Solo. And then they asked everyone to get excited about, where his origin and everything. It's like,
Mhm.
well, we've kind of all, beheld the tragedy of him being brutally, gunned down, killed by his child. So it's kind of hard to. A lot of people find it hard once they've seen the end to go back and,
See the
get all
beginning.
that
Hmm.
excited. Yeah. So some of these decisions, I think, are coming back to haunt them a little bit.
Hmm.
You've got to do something to galvanize people, and we agree that is it Alden Ehrenreich, whatever his name is,
Alden Ehrenreich. Yeah.
Alden Ehrenreich. We both agree, and everybody agrees he did okay. He did an okay job. He was fine, but
Hmm.
he did not galvanize people, and that's just a fact. It's unfair. But when his pictures came out, when the news of the choice came out, it seemed like there was
Hmm.
just as many, more people unhappy about it than happy about it. And their opinions shouldn't really matter. They should go judge the final product. But in this world we live in, that kind of thing matters.
Yeah.
You've got to excite people with those choices, and um, it just didn't work out. But we've talked about this, and I want to see a sequel to the movie actually.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
I think if they do it right, script it right, don't screw around and get everything wrong. Whatever they did with this production. Anyway, the second film has a lot of potential to be better than the first, easily. Just have more commitment, more drama, more dynamic scenes and stuff in it, and
And you
also
can, and with a sequel like that, you can jump right into the action. You don't have to worry about setting
absolutely
up characters, stuff like that.
you can
So,
let the actors can start to breathe a little bit
yeah.
and focus more on what they're going to bring to it, and instead of the weight of like, is this going to go over? Well, it didn't go over, but I mean, I'm sorry, but making 340 million isn't bad.
No,
But
absolutely not.
what kind of crazy world do we live in? That would be a huge hit film a lot of the times,
For
but
any
it's not anymore.
franchise, but when it comes to Star Wars, it's supposed to be, you know, $1 billion every
Yeah,
movie kind of thing. And when it comes up short of that, even though it's more, successful than 90% of the other films that are released, it's considered a failure.
right.
Yeah, so that's
And
the standard Star Wars is held up by, and here's a kind of another point that I didn't make. Was part of the failure maybe hubris by Disney by saying all we have to do is just roll out a Star Wars film and they'll
yeah,
come. If you build it, they will come mentality. Just put a Star Wars name on it and it'll make $1 billion.
I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's Disney or Lucasfilm. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's some hubris there for sure, and
Hmm.
you can't really blame them because there's a lot of power in that brand, and when
Absolutely.
we went to Celebration, you just never going to forget those lines at 5 in the morning, going all the way
No,
out into the dark street that no one was prepared
thousands of
for.
people
Yeah,
lined up at
they were
4:30 in the morning.
still putting cones out and trying to light the place because there was people driving by about to run over 100 Star Wars fans or whatever.
Hmm.
So, but you go in these rooms and people are just clapping like trained seals, nonstop. It's just adulation, and it's
Hmm.
because of this passion we have for something that we never get to express. You get into this bottled up environment and it all comes out and it's just crazy. But the people attending that and Disney and everybody else are like, look at this. We have, an army of drones basically who will clap for anything. And
Yeah.
we're just like fainting goats, if we announce anything, the Sarlacc pit movie, it's like we fall over and pass out. We're so ecstatic. So, yeah, is it hubris? Is it just normal human behavior to look at that and be like, hey, we are we got it. And
Hmm.
it, it's so simple, really, when it comes down to it. Just write a good script,
Hmm.
and with all the resources they're willing to put in this. And that's why I'm hesitant to blame Disney so much, because they paid to reshoot the whole movie.
That's true. Yeah,
You
they
know,
didn't have to do that. They could have
no,
just left it with what they got. You know,
and the budgets that
either
they
keep the
filmed.
original directors or just bring in Howard and have him say, "Okay, we've already got this shot. Just
Mhm.
put a Band-Aid on the rest of it, and that's what we'll put out." Because it's
And
Star Wars, they'll buy it. Who cares?
you make $2 billion with a relaunch. Why not just paint by numbers, keep doing the same thing
Yeah.
like
Yep.
Transformers and why not cut your budget in half? You've obviously got
Hmm.
everybody on the hook. You just use the same costumes, same sets, like another franchise, Star Trek,
Mm-hmm.
until you run it into the ground. They haven't done that. So as much as I want to blame Disney for certain things, I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it's Disney, if it's Lucasfilm, or what, but there's
Yeah.
definite hubris there, and there almost has to be. And maybe these growing pains are going to happen or are normal, but I always go back to they dropped the ball on a saga film. This is not the prequels anymore. This is the continuation. We're not telling an old story
Yeah.
that can be propped up by what's coming after. The original trilogy, we all knew what was coming after. There was only so much damage they could do in the
Mm-hmm.
prequels. This is the whole future of everything, and you drop the
Right.
ball on a saga.
Blank slate with
Yeah,
this. Mm-hmm.
you drop the ball on a saga film, and I lost interest. It's insanity, We're here talking about
Yeah. Well,
Star
I
Wars
think
because
you and
we were
I were.
interested.
Yeah, and you and I were messaging the other night, and I made the comment too that um, this is episode 9 is because of the Last Jedi. Episode 9 is the first movie that I have, first Star Wars film, especially saga film, that I really. It's not that I have no interest. I'm just like,
Hmm.
you know, I'm just kind of whatever. It'll be what it'll be.
I was kind
And
of
I'm
like that for
not
Rogue
pumped up
One,
with it.
but
Yeah.
but it was more like I knew there was a possibility it would still be really good, and I
Hmm.
hadn't been really burned yet. So once I saw it was going to be good, I got excited for it. I, I'm not going to be excited for Episode 9. I don't care what people tell me anything until I see it with my own eyes, which probably won't be
Yeah.
when it comes out. I'm still going to be carrying
Yeah.
that grudge. I mean, they really, in my opinion, just messed up on 8,
Hmm.
and those are like I've said before, those are your tentpole movies, and every one of them is important. You can't let one slip by. And all these people saying that everyone hated The Empire Strikes Back because it took chances and everything, just go fly a kite off of a cliff
Yeah.
on a
Come
short
on.
dock on a pier,
Yeah.
with a great white shark in the ocean.
That's revisionist history, is what that is.
Yeah, some critics didn't like it. Some critics didn't like Star Wars. You can't take, people found like their diary entry where, oh, I didn't like The Empire Strikes Back, and suddenly it's like, oh yeah, nobody liked it. No, I got
Yeah,
news for
everybody
you.
hated that movie, and now suddenly it's the favorite. Yeah, no,
No, everybody liked it, and you
exactly.
look at the box office on it. It did really well. It's still high up there, even competing with these billion-dollar movies now. When you adjust for inflation, it solidified and launched the whole Star Wars, legacy and everything. So anyway, all I'm saying is, um, Solo comes out after the Last Jedi, and you can call it a flop or whatever. It's not technically
Mhm.
a flop, but
No.
you got to look back at that movie right before it. I mean, that 6 month shadow is cast by that movie, and
Yep.
all these other things are factors. But Black Panther made ridiculous money. Every movie that came out after that was supposed to be big was big and made ridiculous money. So there's obviously money to go around for movies right now. There's something else going on.
Hmm.
Impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and not to get into much of the negativity, but I've never seen a film split a fan base like this.
That is correct.
Um, and I definitely don't want to get into all the stuff, with the actress who plays Rose and leaving social media and all the racist comments and sexist comments that came out about her that drove her away. That's not what this necessarily discussion is about, but I just wanted to bring it up to kind of make the example that this is a huge split. This is
Yeah,
a schism.
yeah,
This is an absolute schism right now in the
right.
fan base. And I've never seen anything like it. I mean, Star Wars has
And
always been a united family. Yeah, we disagree on little things here and there, but I've
exactly.
never seen anything like this.
Well, you and I both, had our pains when we were kids just for being Star Wars fans.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was not, no matter what anybody tells you out there, it was not cool. It was
It
not
was not
cool.
cool to like
It was
Star
not
Wars.
cool like Star Wars. If people make money off of liking it now, but it's still
Yeah.
not really cool, I don't think. But they've just done the Jedi mind trick that it's cool. But it was really
Yeah,
not
yeah.
cool back then. And
Nope.
anyway, my point is we've paid our dues and everything to be fans, and when
Hmm.
we saw a fellow Star Wars fan back then, we instantly had something in common to bond
Yeah,
over and to talk about. Never once would I
exactly.
think this person's my enemy or has an opposite opinion. I mean, we
Yeah.
might have opposite opinions, but we all loved the movies, and it was like finding
Right.
a long lost relative or something. You had so
Absolutely.
much in common from that. It's not like that anymore.
Nope, not at all. And again, it's probably partly a byproduct of the society we live in now with the internet, and everybody's got a voice and everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's got the anonymity of the internet to post it and be keyboard warriors and throw their opinions out there and have zero accountability for what they say.
Yeah.
So that's going to make people a whole lot more brave. Yeah, to say stupid things to incite
Right.
others.
Right. And
So I'm sure part of it is that.
as a club, as the Cantina Club, as the three of us and whoever else and our friends, I think we all agree that bullying people in any shape or form is reprehensible, and we don't
Absolutely.
do that, and we don't stand for
Ridiculous.
that. And whatever has happened with the actors and stuff involved in the movies, if we could defend those people, we would. If there was some way we could correct the internet and the behavior on the internet, we would. We're not the problem. We're not participating in that. And
Nope, absolutely not.
I'm on the internet, with Star Wars stuff quite a bit, not a ton, but quite a bit. And if I express any kind of criticism of that movie, the unnamed movie, I am painted with the same brush as the people that they claim are toxic.
You lumped in with
Yeah.
racists and the sexists and the toxic fans.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I had no idea that stuff was going on. It makes total sense to me. Of course it's going on. Everybody
Yeah, of
gets
course.
bullied on the internet, and everybody
Yeah.
gets, talked to rudely. There's hardly ever, it's called trolling. It's a profession.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't make it right, and it should be.
Nope.
I don't want it regulated, though, because I believe in freedom of speech. You have to toughen up if you're going to be in the public eye and you're going to do stuff.
Agreed.
And when we start trying to find all these solutions and overly regulate everything, it leads to even more problems and less freedom. But people, somehow people need to agree to start being more responsible with the things they say and do. And that doesn't mean we all have to suddenly be Pollyanna and love everything that we're spoon-fed from Lucasfilm or Disney.
No, of course not.
Yes, my master.
Somewhere in there's got to be a place to meet. But
Yeah.
it's difficult because if you fire a shot, you are assumed to be in the enemy camp and you're treated as a hostile.
He will join us
Yeah.
or die.
Absolutely. So
All this communication, and we still don't get to know anybody.
Where are
We
those
just assume everything.
transmissions you
oh, absolutely
zapped?
not. Yeah. No, I agree. So that's basically kind of the state of the Star Wars fandom, and I'm assuming that the next year to 2 years we'll see which direction this goes. I think a lot will hinge on the reaction to Episode 9, which is of course the next Star Wars film that's going to be hitting theaters in I'm assuming Christmas 2020 or 2019.
It's in
So,
great
yeah, we
hands
got-
with J.J. Abrams because he's known for his powerful endings and
Yeah.
drawing
Yeah.
the strings, plot strings together.
Yeah.
The Emperor does not share your optimistic appraisal of the situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting the most out
So-
of out of the end of a big story.
Yeah.
Did
Absolutely.
I fool you there for a second? I did want to say one thing about when you brought up you've never seen anything so divisive, and it's the split. You said it was a schism. I did want to point out that I think a certain part of that was on purpose, not to be a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not trying to say it was a move to like cause bitterness or anything.
Obi-Wan
But
once thought it
just watch the movie, which I don't really recommend. But if you
It
watch
is
The Last
pointless.
Jedi, over and over again, they literally split things on the screen.
Yeah,
Violently,
you're right.
up to the point where they take one of the ultimate symbols of the Force and the Skywalker legacy and everything, Anakin and Luke's lightsaber, and deliberately, violently split it in half. And we're left with the shattered pieces at the end, and how do we go on from here? And I don't think that was just pure symbolism for the sake of story. I think they've, what do you call it, breaking the fourth wall, or they've stepped over, they've stepped
Yeah.
over purposefully into the real world, which is really bad move in my opinion for a Star Wars film. It's just one of the things you don't want to do. And but you look at all that symbolism in that movie, somebody intended that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just not that stupid. I see what's put in front of me. And it wasn't even subliminal. It was purposefully, epically
Oh, no,
done right
it's-
in your face.
Epically done with music to back it.
Exactly. So that's all I wanted to say is I think that
Yeah.
that schism, I don't think anybody predicted this. What's going on now? But
Absolutely not. I never saw this coming in a million years.
it was like a gauntlet thrown down, and I don't think they expected the response to it that they got. But somebody intended to be very divisive, and they succeeded.
Don't make me destroy you.
Is that
That's
good
a
or
good.
not? I mean, it's if it goes into the level of art, people, a lot of people believe art has to be divisive, but we're talking about pop art.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
there's a point. I think there's a point where it's going too far on the divisive end.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have anything else, I think that's going to be a wrap on our take on the current state of the Star Wars fandom. Do you have anything else to add?
Star Wars Celebration 2019, all the tickets sold out.
Yeah.
Biggest convention center in the United States and all this. So
Excellent.
either it's going to be a great event or the bloodiest brawl we've ever seen.
day
All those
long
keyboard
remembered.
warriors will be face to face.
Oh, but that's the thing about keyboard. When they are face to face, they're the nicest
See what
people you've ever.
happens.
You're the nicest people you've ever met because I've met them like that, and they're
Mark my words,
just nice.
though. Mark my words, though.
Mhm.
There's going to be some organized stuff go down at that. There's going to be some purposeful, trolling, public trolling, unlike anything we've seen in Star Wars before.
Could be.
If you go watch the video of that comedian dressing up like Lucas and going out to the conventions and
Oh yeah.
it's going to be like that only for real. There's going to be some
Yeah.
people with some really volatile emotions and stuff trying to provoke incidents and things like that, and getting banned and thrown out, banned from Star Wars Celebration. I mean, maybe it won't go that far, but there's going to be something.
I
like
hope
that,
not.
mark my
Yeah,
words.
I hope not.
I want to have
Because I know
faith in humanity.
Yeah.
but
I
we're at a
hope it
stage
goes
where
better.
Things are going to get worse before they get better.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to 3 celebrations now, and and they're aptly named. They are celebrations. I haven't seen any divisiveness at the ones I've been at.
No.
Now, granted, I haven't been to one since post Last Jedi, so I guess we'll see how that works out next year.
One thing to consider is what taps people's buttons now, and what provokes people makes money. And even if we're talking about small amounts of money, somebody is there to make it. So this negativity is being driven. And I'm not somebody to put down people for their negativity about Last Jedi, because they should have a voice. But some of it is being driven by people who are making money off of it. And
Of
as
course,
long as they
yeah.
continue to make money off of it by rallying people to their cause and being the most vocal, nothing's going to satisfy them, because if they actually get redress and it's fixed, their money goes away.
Yeah.
They need,
Oh,
they
absolutely.
need an active issue. So that's why I think at Celebration and things like that, from now on, there will be people trying to get noticed and people trying to drum up this stuff so they can make more of a small career out of it.
Sad but true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is pointless.
absolutely.
When there's money involved, you don't know whose motives to trust anymore. We don't make money off of this, so you can trust us.
Exactly. We're absolutely not monetized in any way.
Not in any shape or form. We're losing money, just
Exactly.
sitting here bleeding money.
Just sitting here bleeding it. So you're
You
welcome.
knew the power
Yeah.
of the dark side.
All right. Well, leave us your comments and let us know what you think about the current state of Star Wars fandom, and you can drop us a note on our Facebook page at the Cantina Club. Just search for us on Facebook. You can leave us a comment on our Twitter handle. That's at 78Cantina. And until next time, we will see you then.
Later.
You have failed me for the last time.
We really connected today.
You're singing Yug Nub, Yug Nub,
What have you
at
done?
the Cantina Club.
What have you done? Where are those transmissions you intercepted?
Presence I've not felt
We really
since
connected today.